Hey, welcome to Patriot Point. So everything that you see inside the main house here, everything that the stone and the logs are part of the original home that was built in 1926-27 by Clara Bow, who was a very prolific silent movie actress. She was the #1 female actress of her day. And it's very interesting, the history in here, how this place was built. And one of the things that we did when we first, about a year and a half ago, was so this was the original front door. One of the guys that helped out a lot down here quite a bit actually flipped the door around, and we found this door knocker on here. So the Jeffress folks owned the property between 1952 and 54. And we recently sold the development rights to the property, and with that came all the deed paperwork back to 1900. We got land grant information back to, I saw one 1771, one was 1776. So it's just crazy, the history that's associated with this property. My name is Hugh Middleton. I'm the Vice President of Operations and Development here at Patriot Point.
So how did you get involved with Patriot Point?
So about 5 years ago, I was sponsored into a local organization's duck and goose hunt called the Grand National Waterfowl Association, which coincidentally enough, the former owner of what was then called Patriot Point, Mr. Jim Bugg, was one of the co-founders of. He was the founder of the Yellow Ribbon Fund, so it's really the generation of what Patriot Point has become. He started. So I was sponsored in with a couple of guys I was in the Navy SEAL teams with, and this is where I came to do the duck hunt. And from that, the folks I met and became very good friends with, I came up a few more times after that. I hunted here and other locations in the local area, and just got more familiar with it. And then about 4 years ago, I moved from Virginia Beach to a farm about 30 minutes from here in Trapp. And I spent more time volunteering here. I actually grew up on the Chesapeake Bay, on the Wye River in Queenstown. So by boat, I'm about 30 minutes from home, from where I grew up, which is really, one of the best parts about this. So that's how I found out about it. And the more time I spent here volunteering, the more I just enjoyed it. And I, believed in the mission of it. And the previous caretaker was retiring, and I'm like, well, I can do it, So I took over in November of 2020. This is where most of our meals happen during the hunting season. Everybody likes to come in and congregate here. We serve breakfast, and it's really a great place for folks, who come from all over the country who don't know each other. For them to, really make bonds, really lifelong lasting bonds with each other, because, obviously just about everybody that comes here has a common thread. They served our country. Most, if not all, have, some ill effects from that, whether it's traumatic brain injury or PTS. So, I think we'll get into that a little bit later. I'll explain how that process, goes and what goes on here. But we just want this place to be as clean and safe and secure and just a friendly, relaxing environment as it can be, because that's part of the healing process. A couple months ago, I put this in honor of our POW and MIAs. We also have POW MIA flag erected on our flagpole, along with Maryland State and, of course, the American flag. And we have our challenge coin board. And challenge coins are very big within the military and law enforcement. It's really your unit designator on there, and it's kind of another way to build camaraderie, and you present people with a coin. So when folks present a coin here, I don't personally accept it. Whoever presents it has to put it up there themselves. We have a growing collection here. I have Patriot Point coins when I'm actually presented, ones to me. In return, and we hand out those a lot. So it's a really great way for folks to remember their time here at Patriot Point, and for us to remember the groups that come here. So I say this all the time. So the mission of Patriot Point is, it's a retreat for our nation's wounded, ill, and injured. And I tell people that I really am our mission statement. From what I did in the military, I've got my own issues, from multiple concussions to traumatic brain injury, you name it. And so the folks that come in here with the different groups from around the country, I'm very much able to relate to, because I've got the same things going on that they have. Fortunately, I have all my limbs, but I've suffered probably what will become long-term damage that we all sort of that we all have. So for me to be able to be a part of the groups, some of them do their own, have their own, therapy sessions and recovery programs. Some just come and have a retreat. So where they want me involved, I am. When I know when to leave them alone and have them do their own thing. But it's really easy for me to relate to everyone that comes here, and I think personally, I believe that helps with the comfort and the trust level of this place, is that they know that it's safe, they know that it's secure, they know that I've been there, I'm one of them, and I think that helps with their relaxation and their comfort level that really makes Patriot Point a special place that it is. So, and I tell our guests that really there's no, unless we're hunting out here or something like that, there really is no off-limit access. So they can come and walk these trails. They can walk along the beach. We've had groups out here that have found arrowheads along the beach, and just, it's just, you can kind of do whatever you want within reason. We've had kind of the broad spectrum. Double amputees, single amputees, triple amputees, wheelchair bound. We've had people here that haven't been out of their homes in over a year. We've had people that have gone essentially, they can't go into a Walmart or a Target just because they end up having an episode of some type. But they know when they come here and they drive down that lane and they turn that corner and they see how beautiful this place is, and I can attest, it's been thousands and thousands of hours of work to make this place what it looks like, and we have a tremendous team and a lot of help doing it. But it's part of the whole thing, is that this place is beautiful. You have the serenity of the water, which that is just a natural healing healing thing anyway. But they know that this is 294 acres. This is a secure facility. They can come, they can relax, and I tell people all the time, here's your list of activities. We have everything from kayaking, canoeing, stand-up paddle boarding, our 5-stand sporting clays. We do hunts during the waterfowl hunting season. We have a shooting range. We have all of these things to do, a beautiful gym. But I don't care if you do any of it. It is whatever your release, how you heal, what you mentally need is on the individual. So I purposely don't. I purposely don't have a program. I purposely don't set a schedule, because us we're in the military. You always go someplace in a big group. You're always on a time schedule. You're always rushing around. Whatever. That's not what this is. I like to keep the groups fairly small, fairly intimate. I think that helps build the camaraderie, because the groups that come often bring people from all over the country. There's a group coming tomorrow here for a couple of days to fish. The organization is out of Texas, but they're bringing people from all over the country. We've had people from Alaska, California, you name it, and they get here, and within an hour or two, they are all laughing and joking, and they kind of come out of their shell. Which talking is probably one of the most important things they can do. I've sat in front of our fireplace over there for 3 hours talking to an individual. And they did all the talking. It was the first time that they were able to really sit down with someone that they can relate to and get it out. And that is one of the biggest things of this recovery, is talking and releasing. Keeping this stuff bottled up, I've learned myself, does not do anyone any good. So it's just this whole environment. When you're safe, you're secure, it's as beautiful it is, you can relax, you can be yourself, and you can let it out. So, among many other things that Jim Bugg was, he was a big game hunter. So most of these mounts, actually just about all of them except for two, were from him. And he, he started a lot of conservation programs in Africa. He also started a lot of programs here for kids to get out and fish and hunt and enjoy the outdoors and learn how to do those sort of things. Get out from their cell phones and computer games and really enjoy the outdoors. Yeah. So what we do, a lot of people think that this is a hunt club based on Mr. Bugg. That's how he ran it. But the hunting part is probably 5 or 10% of what we do. We have about 55 tillable acres, which again makes this kind of unusual in the nonprofit world. Is not only do we have the programs and things here and all the activities, but we are a working farm. So we're in the process right now of tilling the fields. The weather hasn't been all that cooperative. But we'll plant about 22 acres of milo, which is what our ducks that we raise love to eat. The front part's going to be soybeans this year. But actually next week, or actually July 13th, we're going to get 2,000 ducks. They're about 6 weeks old, and we raise them for our hunting season. So our waterfowl season runs between November and January. We do about 19 hunts a year, and we get groups together. Sometimes I'll pair up donors and potential donors, because it really hits home for folks that support Patriot Point, for them to fully understand the good that their money does and what it goes towards. When you're sitting in a blind with a guy that doesn't have any legs, they really understand, like, this is what this place is about. This is why I'm supporting such a great cause. We built these blinds here. So these are the ones I said we were able to move around. We can drag them in different places, and we're going to build a couple more this year. One that's really set up for wheelchair access. And for double amputees, it's really tough for them to stand up quickly. So oftentimes they have to stand the whole time, because the birds come in fast. And it's kind of a reactionary thing. But we want to build something that's a little bit more, visibly accessible, so they can sit and see. And be able to shoot while sitting, if that's what they want to do.
What are some of the things you've learned from the guests here?
That it's no matter how low a point you're in, and I've seen some of my personal friends are still in some pretty dark places, is that it's not. It is recoverable. One of the things that really I have a hard time mentally consuming is suicide. We all know that the military and actually first responder and law enforcement suicide rates are ridiculous. In the last 5 months, I've had 4 guys that I know who've committed suicide. One of my neighbors from where I used to live a couple of years ago, he committed suicide too. I can't mentally swallow it. So what I hope is that this place is a jump start or a fire for an individual that may be down that road to go, look, life is not that bad. There are places like Patriot Point that I can come to that can turn this around. I got to get out of my house. I got to talk to someone. I got to come look at this place, and I got to sit by the water. So that's probably one of the things that I've learned, is that you can be pretty far down the tube, but it is a recoverable thing. And I tell people too, no matter what you've been through, there's somebody that's been through worse. and they've turned around. So I try. That's part of why I try to get people together so that individuals can learn from each other. They can say, "Hey, look, this guy's missing 3 of his limbs, and he's got a smile on his face." So that's part of what this whole place is you can come back from a pretty dark place and have a pretty good life, because life is short. You really got to make what you can out of it, take advantage of the beauty of it, visit Patriot Point and get your head straight, and so that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned. So we changed this last year or so into what we call a reflection room, and it's just an amazing place to sit. Again, just to watch the storms go by, and groups will have meetings up here. They'll have discussions up here, because just the serenity of the environment just sort of lends itself to the healing process. And this was all donated. The furniture was donated by one of our founding board members, Rob Tishoff, who was a Navy JAG officer, retired captain 06. And he has his own foundation, the Tishoff Family Foundation. They have done a tremendous amount for the property here, from our new boat to all this stuff. The Plank family, so Stuart Plank was also not one of our founding board members, and then of course the Military Ball Foundation. So they were really the 3, 2 individuals in an organization that had the vision and idea to start Patriot Point back in 2016. When Mr. Bug passed away, his family was going to put the property up for sale, and they're like, "Hey, I think we can do something here and kind of carry on his legacy." So it's come a long way since then. And it's just amazing. There are a lot of great places around the country, in Texas and Montana and Utah that are just magnificent. But when you encompass all that we do here, and it being the work involved with the hunting and the activities, the history of the place, the location, the being on the water. It's my personal opinion that it's very unique, and I think it's sort of unrivaled. It's kind of unmatched in the country, and I think that's what really brings a lot of people here. And a lot of organizations, veteran-focused organizations, don't have their own facility, so they have to travel. We have a group coming soon that travels all over the country. Warrior Reunion Foundation, which gets units that went to combat together to do reunions. So they do 2 back-to-back weekends here. So we're very grateful for that, to be able to bring organizations from around the country that don't have their own facility to be able to utilize ours, and offer this, this unbelievable place, so that they can do the work that they do. So, we've got a lot of, what we call capital level projects. We got our new screened-in gazebo done, our parking lot paved for more accessibility for wheelchairs to be able to get from, building to building. We're having a new barn built. So I really want to get a lot of these capital level projects done, so that we can focus more on getting more groups in here. When we had over 535 guests last year, about 49 visits, which is just crazy. We've had, I think since 2016, we've had over somewhere around 2,500 total guests here. So I want to focus on that. I want to build, and create more partnerships with really good organizations around the country. Because one of the unfortunate things I have learned in this nonprofit world is that there are a lot, unfortunately, that are in it for the wrong business, wrong reasons. They're in it for money or greed or what have you. So I really work hard to find very good teaming partners that fall within our mission statement of wounded, ill, and injured. And I also want to be able to really get on the level, or close to the level of some of the very good organizations that are, big in this country, like, the Gary Sinise Foundation and some of these, the Bob Woodruff Foundation. I mean, these are massive organizations, and they do a tremendous amount for organizations, like us and smaller ones. So I would love to be able to raise enough money where we, we're covering our operating costs, but we're also doing smart investing so that we can help others, other 501s, veteran focus, get started and kind of foster them along and kind of build, so that's really my long-term goal, is to get us on a good level footing financially, which we're pretty good at, but the fundraising never ends. But again, to be able to turn that around and to be able to help other organizations is really I'd say my 5 to 10 year goal is. There's a bald eagle right there. There's 2 of them. Look at them.
Oh, wow.
So we have, I think, somewhere 5 or 7 of them. But that osprey's after it. Look how cool that is. Look, you see it go upside down.
Yeah. Well, watch that for a long time. That's awesome.
So this is so the property.